What is up, citizens of God? My name is Graham Elwood. You're watching the Bitcoin Vigilante. Well, crazy things have happened today. Crazy things. We're going to get into that. Like, share, subscribe, send this out on your social media. We're also, StreamYard has a new thing where we're streaming vertically and horizontally. So if you're watching this on a phone, might get a fuller, better image. Hello, Kevin, in the chat. We are also streaming on Rockfin. We're working on getting this better background for this. Is kind of a bland background, I know, but we will get this figured out. I've been traveling, been doing shows in Asia. So this is my place here. I got to get some things set up, but we're working on it. We just was out of town this past weekend. Was in Vietnam, and very interesting, fascinating trip. Tony D's music channel. What's up? You've had too many backgrounds over the years. Yes, I have. I know this one is not really interesting. You need kind of an interesting background, and I've done the virtual one. It slows it up. It just doesn't, my computer's moving slow. So virtual backgrounds, I don't like them. They get in the way. They get in the way of the robots. That's the way you can support our show right there. That's the way to donate Bitcoin. Down there. Wendy is in the chat. Hello. And again, everybody over on Rockfin, hello. You can go over to Rockfin and join, rockfin.com/Graham Elwood. We're going to be talking this in a minute. I wanted to talk about this now because these releases just came out today. I will also be on Jordan Sheridan's show tomorrow morning at 9:30 Eastern time. But I just this is pretty astounding. What's happening, but we'll get into it in a sec. If energy is not created, then it existed before the Big Bang happened. In the last Big Bang cycle, if energy is not created nor destroyed, there's an infinite number of them. Yeah. Good point. Good morning, Vietnam. This is, I've even reached out to Whitney Webb to come on the show, but she hasn't been very responsive. She's been kind of busy, or I don't know, maybe she's, so this is, I'll get this thing queued up. Because it is get that ready. I'll get this. We'll get it all queued up. So, there's a lot to unpack from these apparently 20,000 emails that got released, and we have to, there's a lot of questions that I personally have. The Democrats are going hard on this. Are they going to be willing to give up the Clintons to do this? And is Trump's base, I don't know, are they finally going to say, they're finally going to say we're not, we're going after him. I don't know. It's iced tea. It's not what you think. I'm not, this isn't sipping whiskey. Epstein files releases will probably make Bitcoin go up a bit, in my opinion. Well, we're going to talk about that. Actually, the price has gone down. In the short run, it's gone way down. It's tanked today. I was in Vietnam when the typhoons were hitting. I was up in the highlands So it wasn't like really severe, but we had some pretty bad rain up there. But the coasts like near Da Nang and Nha Trang got hit kind of hard. I saw Ron's movie Left at Wall on streaming service. Your part was hilarious. Don't tax tax. Yeah, guys, if you haven't seen Left at Wall, please check it out. It's Ron Placone's film. I play a right-wing YouTuber, and it was so fun to do. It was so fun to do. I have an American flag background. It was so fun to do. So go check out Left at Wall. It was a really yeah, Ron did a nice job with it. It was a lot of fun. Dave Anthony is in it. No, Eddie Pepitone's in it. And I can't remember. Yeah, Dave's and Gareth is in it from the Dollop. Hello. Yeah, so it's a fun, go watch Left at Wall. It's a blast. And there's, yeah, my part was really fun to do. I got to just be a right-wing dick YouTuber that scams his fans. Is there anyone like that out there? I don't know. So that is what is happening. But all right, let's this is going to take a while. This segment is going to take a while. So let's just get into it. I'll just come back in less than 10 seconds with this segment. There's sure a lot of Epstein files. The files already released, the estate file and the files newly elected. Yeah. I deleted. Well, there's so much, it's like, I can't keep track of all this. There's so much to unpack. All right. I'll be back in less than 10 seconds. And again, please support the show. You can do a super chat. You can do Bitcoin there. If you do a super chat, I'll answer it and put it up on the screen. And if you're watching on Rockfin, you can use it to the tip feature. All right. Thank you, guys. I'll be right back. The Democrats have released 20,000 Epstein emails, several of which implicate Trump pretty severely. What is this going to mean? What is the fallout from this? Are the Democrats going to be willing to give up the Clintons in order to get Trump? We'll unpack all of this and more. My name is Graham Elwood. You're watching the Bitcoin Vigilante. I've been covering this story for a long time. I started covering it in the summer of 2019 when Epstein was first arrested. I predicted that if he didn't get bail, they would kill him in prison. And that happened. And I have a whole Epstein playlist. And I have numerous videos that I have all of the evidence, all of the receipts are there. I've shown ties to Trump, the Clintons, everybody. I've shown, and there's even more. I've talked about how Jean-Luc Brunel was arrested around the same time Maxwell was, and he unalived himself in prison. Weird that these billionaires just feel so distraught once they get arrested for being pedophiles. It's so crazy. I did stories on Peter Nygaard, and this just keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper. They're, Senator, one of the female senators from Alaska that was like trying to prevent this stuff from getting released, worked with Maxwell's non-for-profit. I've talked about Maxwell's non-for-profit. If you go on my Epstein playlist, you'll see all this stuff I've been talking. I interviewed John Kiriakou, CIA whistleblower, in like September of 2019. He said he thought it was Mossad who, those are his words, not mine, did the Epstein unaliving. And so this is significant. So, Epstein or Trump ran his campaign last year He hasn't even been president for a year. We just hit the year anniversary of the election, but he was sworn in January of this year, 25. So he's only been president for 10 months, a little over 10 months. Trump ran on, I'm going to unlock the Epstein files. I'm going to do this. And he ran on that as a, why didn't Biden do it? He ran on that as a, the Democrats were covering this up, which helped his base go, yep, the Democrats, they're the pedophiles. And I was always the one saying, there's ties to Trump. And I remember some of these Bitcoin QAnon people were like getting mad at me on Twitter. I was like, no, they're like, it's all been debunked. No, it has not. 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 Directly into my microphone. I was the one that talked about when, and during the Maxwell trial in December of 21, it came out that actually Trump was on the plane 4 more times. Initially, prior to the Maxwell trial, it was believed Trump was only on his plane once. It came out that he was on 5 times total. There was 4 new ones that came out. And I was like, wow, how come CNN and those folks aren't jumping all over us? Because they didn't want to expose the Clintons. Well, this is what, you know, is changing the whole landscape, is because both sides didn't want it all to come out, because if they go after Trump too hard, then they have to expose the Clintons. If they go after the Clintons too hard, then they got to expose Trump. So Trump ran on this, and then Pam Bondi said in February on Fox News, I did a video on it. It's videos out there. You can check yourself, of her saying the file's on my desk. And then July 7th, Pam Bondi said, oh, the file's empty. Kash Patel said, we're going to go after, Kash Patel ran, you know, talked about, we got to go after these people, go after these people. And then he goes on Joe Rogan's show, goes, the file's empty. And Rogan's looking at him like, wow, you've been co-opted. Kash Patel with those crazy eyes. And so one of the things that really hasn't been discussed about the government shutdown is, one of the reasons of the government shutdown is the Democrats have been pushing to release the Epstein files. That's why the Republicans won't back up. So what has just happened in the last 24 to 48 hours, the Democrats have a couple of them jumped the aisle to agree to a government shutdown, to end the government shutdown. But there's been this thing, the Democrats won't give up the Affordable Care Act. They don't want to give up the Affordable Care Act. So all this is stuff. So this is what is on CNN's website. So what's inside? Thousands of Epstein documents from Epstein estate released by the House committee. Okay, so what we've covered, I got to, an additional, today's release, the House Oversight Committee has released an additional 20,000 pages of documents the GOP-led panel received from the estate of Jeffrey Epstein, a convicted sex offender whose death by suicide spawned intense scrutiny of the high-profile people he knew. CNN reporters went through the files and posted their findings. What we found, Epstein and Maxwell coordinated their public response to a 2015 lawsuit that was brought by Virginia Roberts Giuffre. I've talked about that. Maxwell said her relationship with Epstein was almost non-existent between 2010 and 2019, which is so funny when people, like in the spring and then like June, July, when everyone was believed, you know, Trump said the files were empty. We're like, oh, we're supposed to believe Maxwell now. Yeah, great. Epstein's insults of Trump. Epstein wrote that I know how dirty Donald is, referring to a potential scandals that might come out after Trump in an August 2018 email to Catherine Rumler, a former White House counsel under President Obama. Epstein also emailed about Trump's mental state with his personal attorney. White House pushes back. Press Caroline Leavitt blasted the email saying they prove nothing. This is key. Represented the deciding vote. Adelita, forgive me for mispronouncing, Gravalia was sworn into Congress after 50 days of waiting and then signed to discharge the petition. One of the things that they were avoiding was letting her being sworn into Congress because she would be the deciding vote. So let's go into some of these things. This is the additional 20,000 pages, right? And this, in the next days and weeks to come, these pages are going to get like more and more stuff. The House Oversight Committee released an additional 20,000 pages of documents. Okay, so let's go to the newest post, because this is CNN.com. They're posting this stuff live, right? This came out 32 minutes. She'll keep the name on discharge petition. The work is too important. A GOP representative confirmed again on CNN's Jake Tapper Wednesday night she was keeping her name on the petition to force a House vote to compel the release of Epstein files, saying in a text message, the work is too important. I will never turn my back on other survivors. The work is too important. No one believes us, and we never get justice, she wrote. Earlier, Mace had posted on Twitter about being a survivor of sexual and domestic violence, saying that while she supported Trump, I will never abandon other survivors. Wow. Robert and Mace say Trump didn't ask them to take names off of Epstein position. 2 of the 4 Republicans who signed on the petition to force a vote to release the Jeffrey Epstein file said President Trump had not personally lobbied them to remove their names. Lauren Boebert described her meeting at the White House with administration officials on Wednesday, telling CNN's Manu Raju, we were certainly talking about things, and when asked if she was urged to take her name off the position by adding that she also spoke with Attorney General Pam Bondi about gun law, of course. We discussed other things with the Epstein files, whether it's the estate or what maybe could be released. I mean, the White House has released almost 30,000 documents just recently. So, I mean, we're still going through that kind of stuff. These people sound so smart. Asked about the administration's messages on the handling of the case, Boebert said, I think that everybody hears the message every single day. I don't believe that anybody is misleading me by any means. You liar. The president has not forced me to do anything. The president has not put pressure on me. I was not asked by the president to remove my name. Every conversation that I had was welcomed and very civil. And it's okay for people that have discussions about things that are going on with our nation. She and Trump on Friday had played phone tag with him over the past 24 hours. Oh, you mean when the president calls, you don't just stop everything? Totally believable. Johnson says the House will vote next week on whether to release the Epstein files. Well, let's get into what some of these documents that have come out are. Epstein said he gave his young girlfriend to Trump in the 1990s. Trump has denied wrongdoing. And it included a joke about Epstein having sold a fully depreciated woman to Donald Trump. God, these people are evil. They're filthy, evil people. House committee releases birthday book, other accounts from Epstein estate. All right, well, let's go back to some of the emails have been released. I'm going to put these. So these are, this I think is pretty, these are actual emails from Epstein. Trump knew Epstein for years. There's no way that he went to that island only 3 times. Well, nobody's going to that island just for, kayaking or whatever. Sorry, All right, so this is from Ghislaine Maxwell. I've been thinking about that. This is from Epstein to Maxwell on April 2nd, 2011. I want you to realize that dog hasn't barked is Trump. Victim's name, spent hours at my house with him. He was never once been mentioned, police chief, etc. I'm 75% there. Not sure what the 75% there means. That's up for debate. But this is like, they're admitting that victim spent time with, and then there's this. There's the other emails. Let me find them. Well, this is kind of fun. This is Trump getting booed at a Washington Commanders game over the weekend. Booed. Trump booed. Here's some more emails. Okay, so this is the email we just read, right? That dog that hasn't barked is Trump, but this is another email. This is again from 2019. Victim's name at Mar-a-Lago. Trump said he asked me to resign. Never remember ever. Of course, he knew about the girls, and he asked Ghislaine to stop. This is from January 31st, 2019, which this is from Epstein to Michael Wolff. And Epstein was arrested in January. So this is a good 7 months before Epstein was arrested. I think there's more videos of people booing. I don't think that's the rest from, yeah. This is somebody flipping Trump off at the game. This is, yeah, so this is more of that. Okay, so the real question here is, and I'm curious to hear your input on this. Trump, since July 7th, which is when they said the files were empty, and Trump said, well, I don't know, we're still talking about Epstein. He has been, if you watch, everything he's done since July 7th has been to distract people from Epstein. Even, sending the National Guard to Washington, D.C., to Chicago, that's catnip for his base. His base is largely white, and they view the inner cities as just these lawless, where these black and brown people just run wild and commit crimes, and they're just gangs and heroin in the streets or whatever they're being told from Sean Hanratty at Fox News. And so sending the National Guard was like to motivate his base. He kept trying to do everything, firing Jimmy Kimmel. He was doing anything he could to try to distract everybody from the fact that he is covering up the Epstein thing. I mean, any like just bar none. I mean, that is his sole purpose. And the government shutdown again was to keep these things locked up. So the question I have, and I want to hear your comments, put them in the comments section. How do you think this is going to shake out? Because all I've seen for the last 6 years is evidence comes out, victims speak out, and then they'll have a little, and then it's always trying to cover it up and seal it off. That is always the main thing. And if you go back to Whitney Webb's interview with Maria Farmer, that's what Farmer has said has been going on for decades, and that all of these survivors have watched this happen. And we've seen it time and time and time again. And Trump having clear ties to Epstein, and I've showed you the ties. And when Trump supporters go, what about the Clintons? Yeah, good. We'll lock them all up. I hate both parties. I hate the Clintons. I hate anybody involved with Epstein. I don't care who you are. Get them. If I was president, I'd keep Guantanamo Bay open to waterboard these scumbags. And I'd live stream it. I'd have a waterboarding Gitmo live stream. But the most powerful people in the world are involved in this. So they can cover this up. They can keep covering it up, and they can distract and distract and distract and distract. And so the Democrats are trying to spearhead this just because they don't like Trump. But are they willing to give up the Clintons? Because if you're really going to take down Trump, you have to take down the Clintons. Trump was on Epstein's plane 5 times. Bill was on 26 times. Hillary was on twice. Bill and Hillary were at Epstein's compound in New Mexico numerous times. We're seeing those emails. We just read those emails from 2011. So let's roll it back a little bit. 2009 is when when Epstein was arrested the first time, and Bill Acosta was then the Attorney General of Florida, who then later was put on Trump's cabinet, right? So 2011, again, there's all these ties to Trump, but there's all these ties to the Clintons. In 2011, when we're reading those emails between Maxwell and Epstein about Trump, you know what else was happening in the summer of 2011? Oh, that's when Ghislaine Maxwell got to go to Chelsea Clinton's wedding. Oh, weird. So, and again, there is photos of Maxwell and Epstein being invited to Bill Clinton's White House. They got to go to the White House in the 90s. So, and the Clintons and the Trumps were all friends. So, we have to, the question here is, are the Democrats willing to give up the Clintons to get a full investigation? Will we ever get a full investigation? The fact that some Trump loyalist Republicans in the House and the Senate are like, no. The fact that Mace, who came out to say she was a survivor, if the MAGA crowd is willing to abandon Trump and the Republican Party to get the truth, then it might happen. But that's always the problem in America, is the red versus blue is an addiction. And Americans are too addicted to it to really hold their own party accountable. The liberals, they hate Trump and he's awful. He's a horrible president. But Hollywood liberals, when are Hollywood liberals going to stand up and say, yeah, we helped get this guy elected twice by telling progressives to shut up? By liberals turning a blind eye to the corruption of the Democratic Party in 2016, when Debbie Wasserman Schultz was fired by the DNC and hired by the Hillary campaign. That made a lot of Bernie supporters pissed off. But then we were just yelled at, oh, we're just a bunch of sexist burn bros if we don't vote for Hillary. And it was like all these women and people of color that worked on the Bernie campaign were like, wait a minute, man. And then they tried to do the same thing again with, if you don't vote for Kamala, You're a racist and a sexist. And we're like, hey, wait, Kamala is vice president. She's funding a genocide. Kamala put all these black men in prison when she was attorney general. Joe Biden and Kamala didn't do anything to help the economy. They just went on CNN and said, oh, the economy's great. And Americans went, no, it's not. It's awful. And Trump is trying to do the same thing of saying the economy's great. I'm cleaning up Joe Biden's mess. And his constituents are going, no, it's awful. It's bad under you. That's why he was booed at a Commanders game. He has a 37% approval rating. His own base is turning on him. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tucker Carlson, who stood on Trump's stage at the convention, is turning on him. Now, I don't know what Tucker Carlson, Marjorie Taylor Greene, I don't know if they're playing this as some sort of like long form, three-dimensional chess to try to, they're just, Marjorie Taylor Greene wants to be president. So she's just playing this. She's just doing what's politically, she's a politician, just like AOC and Tulsi Gabbard. And, they're just, is that what Marjorie Taylor Greene's doing? Or does she actually have a conscience and a soul? I don't know. I don't really trust any politicians at all. If you're a Republican or a Democrat, I don't trust AOC. I don't trust Marjorie Taylor Greene. But the fact that these big names within the Republican Party are turning on him, what is this going to do? What is this going to do? I will say this is the first time as someone following the Epstein case that I'm like, is actual justice going to happen? Or is it just going to be the sort of kangaroo court justice of Ghislaine Maxwell? We found her guilty and they made sure that I covered this. The judge passed the thing saying she couldn't get sentenced more than 20 years. And that judge had ties to the ruling elites and Epstein. Maxwell, but was moved to a minimum security prison in Florida. She's at one of those like work camps, and she was never called a pedophile or a sexual, assault. She was never charged with sexual assault of a minor, even though all of her Epstein's victims said Maxwell participated. She's a rapist and a pedophile. So all of these things, R. Kelly, black man, got 30 years. The rich white lady got 20. So, Jean-Luc Brunel, arrested in France, friends with Epstein and Maxwell, hung himself in prison. And so I don't know. You have to kind of be a little cynical when you cover this case because you see how they covered up time and time and time again. But I must say, I'm cautiously optimistic about this. I'm cautiously optimistic. So, there were some super chats and let me know what you guys think. Because this is something I've followed for the last 6 years. I haven't followed it as much because it's really painful thing to follow. But this is, and I don't know. I mean, again, Lee Camp and I talked about it on Government Secrets with Mamdani winning. And the other thing that's critical in this last round of elections we just had in November, it wasn't as big as the midterms, but every single candidate that was backed by Trump lost. And the Republican Party has to go, they're going to get crushed in the midterms. But Trump, being the narcissist fascist that he is, and Joe Biden had his own type of fascism. I mean, the Democrats have their own type of fascism. When I hear conservatives go, oh, Joe Biden was a Marxist, I go, no, you're not. No, it's not. A, define Marxist. What's a Marxist? You have to know what that is before you throw that word out. And B, no. And seeing a bunch of rich guys get bent out of shape because of Mamdani is hilarious. What I see is I don't know. I'm losing. I've been in this place before where I'm like, when I started doing the show 8 years ago now, 2017, I was like, things are changing. I don't know. The American people, like I said, they're very addicted to red versus blue. They're very addicted to making excuses for their team. And as a result of that, and because Americans are so easily propagandized and divided, Americans think they're in a culture war when in fact we're in class warfare. We're in class warfare. There's like 400 billionaires that control the whole country, 4,000 billionaires that control the whole world or something like that. So we're having a hard time paying our bills. We're having a hard time surviving. And that's a direct result of out of control capitalism. And the capitalists who benefit from it get all mad at socialism. Socialism, the only reason socialism has only been around for about 100 years. Socialism was created as a direct result of out of control capitalism. And tying this back into Epstein, one of the big things that Epstein did, and I showed you this numerous times, he did money laundering. He would get videotapes of people having sex with children and then would extort them. And then they would invest in he had a fake hedge fund that came out. Epstein had a fake hedge fund. And several banks helped him and turned a blind eye to his corruption and this. So the Epstein thing goes through both parties. It goes through royal families. It goes through the banking industry, the fashion industry. I've talked about this is a huge touch point for trafficking. Trump had a fashion industry. He was in the fashion industry. They go find these 12, 13, 14-year-old girls and say, oh, you want to be a big famous model? We'll help you. And then that's how they got trafficked. That's the story of most of these survivors. Virginia Roberts said publicly, I will never commit suicide. And yet that happened. So the real question is, are these Trump and the ruling elites and these pedophiles that run the planet is run by billionaire pedophiles. Are they going to start some World War III just to distract everybody from them getting caught? Just get ready. Get ready for Trump. If he get backed against a corner and they're going to arrest him, get ready for him going, we've been at like some false flag event. I predict it would be like immigrants coming across, because having illegals commit some horrifying 9/11 type thing on American soil, that will get Trump's base back in unison, and that'll get them forgetting about the Epstein stuff. So get ready for a false flag of, Hamas snuck across the border and they blew up a mall in Dallas or something like that. Get ready for something like that. And then, oh, no one's talking about Epstein. Get ready. All anyone's talking about today is Epstein. And we'll see how long this Epstein stuff, but get ready. Could be by the end of the week, could be by next week. Because Trump has tried everything to distract everybody since July 7th. Since Pam Bondi went, nope, the file's empty. And we all went, oh, wow, Kash Patel. Nope, we investigated everything. Everything's gone. He's got the craziest lunatic cult eyes. He's in a cult. What a dingbat. Like dingbat. What is it, 1936? I'm trying not to swear because it hurts the algorithm. So I'm like talking like, oh, son of a biscuit. I'm trying to use all these old timey words so I don't swear or get in trouble. Somebody put in the chat. Hollywood is involved for sure. Hollywood is absolutely involved. You're totally correct. Donnie is hoping that threatening an atomic arms race will put everyone in line and then no need for a false flag event. Yeah, that's the other thing too. Let's ramp up World War III with Russia, or, let's get Iran and Israel about to nuke each other and the whole world's The whole world worried about being wiped out because of World War III. That'll get people forgetting about Epstein. So yeah, that's a good point. It'll be some false flag thing, like an attack, a 9/11 type attack on American soil, or it'll be World War III. Watch out, here comes World War III. Yeah, because unless some really like high level people have the guts to really bring this to light, and I mean like some generals got to actually grow a pair of balls and not be little bitches to Trump. You know, like if you're a general, did you swear an oath to the Constitution or to this orange-faced pedophile? I'm a stand-up comedian that's entertained the military in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Kuwait. You're a general or in the military, high-ranking military official, and you're watching this, you can look me up. You can see where I went. You can get my DOD file and look to all the fire bases I did shows at. I got nothing to hide. I put my life on the line to tell jokes to soldiers in this country, and you're a general who swore an oath to the Constitution, and you're going to let this guy cover up pedophiles? If you let this happen, you know, take out your service revolver and because you don't deserve it. I'm an anti-war, pro-labor, democratic socialist, and I've gone into war zones, so no one can question my patriotism at all, ever. Follow the money, connect the dots, get the truth. I know this has been a long segment. We might cut it up. Might not. I don't know, man. Might just leave it as is. Follow the money, connect the dots, get the truth. Support this channel. We've been censored. My videos, when I drop a video now, it gets 300 views, maybe 500. It used to get 5,000 views, 10,000 views. I've been completely censored. But I'm still talking about this. I'm still talking about this. Follow the money, connect the dots, get the truth. It's not red versus blue. It's the state versus you. This is why I'm a Bitcoiner. Follow the money, connect the dots, get the truth, and shave your knuckles for justice. Boom. What is up? I saw some of your old chicken face sketches on Tim Bennett's YouTube channel, Fiddlesticks. Picture Day, a nice legacy dad. Wow. Who is this Palm Strike enthusiast? I bet you we know each other. That's cool. This channel was one of my core channels when I first started to attempt to understand the things that just don't make sense. Thanks, Graham. Hey, wow. That brings a tear to my eye. Thank you so much. Thank you, Anna. It'll be another pandemic to scare people to stay home. Yep. Democrats conveniently forgot Biden didn't release the Epstein list either. Yeah. Isn't that crazy? You're totally correct. Donnie is hoping that threatening an atomic race will, yeah. You know, Concerned, I appreciate you saying that. I've had a lot of discussions and debates within myself and with friends about to keep doing this channel. I'll be honest with you, because it's not paying the bills anymore. It used to pay the bills, and it was really cool, and I was making a decent living doing it, and I really enjoyed doing it. But when you get censored a bunch and then they limit your, the revenue from this show has been cut drastically. I still do it because I like it, because I like talking about it, but it's also like, I like making films and TV and working in traditional Hollywood, and traditional Hollywood But, sometimes traditional Hollywood, I'm sure, looks at this channel and goes, oh, Graham's nuts. He's a Epstein Bitcoiner. He's crazy, or he's talking all these wild conspiracies. If I would have just towed the company line of just being a good Hollywood liberal and doing YouTube shows where I'm just calling out Trump and blaming it all on Trump, I would probably be fine in Hollywood. But I don't do that, and Hollywood is its own. There's some really amazingly talented people that work in Hollywood that just want to make cool things. They're really talented writers, actors, directors, costume, makeup, producers. They just want to make cool stuff. They love movies the way I do. They love sitting in a movie theater and being wowed and being taken on an emotional journey. And that's all I ever want to do. And I've always wanted to make entertainment that's like, that entertains and educates. And usually it's more entertainment than education. But I like making people laugh. I was born with a gift to make people laugh, and I've honed that skill. And, but the reality is I have to pay my bills. And, I'm trying to get investors in projects and stuff like that. So I don't know. There's a chance I might have to just let this all go. Let this channel and just do a pure comedy channel. I'm not willing to, I wasn't willing to just chase right-wing clicks, which if I would have gone the way the Jimmy did and just start chasing right-wing clicks just for money because I didn't have any morals or integrity, I would be making good money, but I couldn't live with myself. I can't say stuff I don't believe in. I can't do it. I can't say stuff. I don't believe in it. I can't do it. I can amp stuff up. I can take a thing and I'm a performer and, but I can't say something I don't believe in. I just can't say it. I can't say it. And I've been politically homeless for quite a while now. So, and honestly, covering the Epstein stuff, as important work as it is, it's hard emotionally to cover, to know all of the evil stuff that these guys did. And it's really hard. It's really hard. I'm not going to lie to you. It's really hard. People like, do more Epstein. If I would have stayed just on Epstein all the time, maybe I still would have a decent sized following. But I don't know, talking about Epstein can also, you can get censored from that too. Alex Das Leby, shave your knuckles for justice. You're the best. Love you, Graham. I check out Bitcoin Hollywood too and try to get traction there. Ghislaine is living like a mafia boss. You get punished for reporting crimes. You are awesome. Thanks, man, dude. Wow, Alex, that's cool. And I appreciate those of you that have stayed with me a long time. Yeah, so Bitcoin Hollywood. I also have another channel I started that I kind of haven't done much with, called Planet Comedy. And I'm doing just more fun interviews, travel stuff, because I'm doing a lot of touring, international touring, and I'm meeting cool comedians from other parts of the world. And so I know I've said this, but I'm going to put these videos out there of sort of an Anthony Bourdain, but for comedy, where a local comedian takes me around, we get some local food, we talk over lunch, what it's like, and being a comedian there and performing there, and what that, and then you see, me doing a show. And so I have a couple sort of trial episodes. I'm going to put that out on Bitcoin Hollywood and Planet Comedy. I'll start using that one as well. But the reality is this channel, I might have to just shut it down. That's the reality. That's the reality. And, people have said to me, like a fan reached out and said, Graham, I learned about Fred Hampton because of you. I learned about all these things on your channel because of you. And that's is cool. Your interview with the dude who went to communist Asia was crazy entertaining. Yeah. There's, and I'm meeting more people here. I did a show last night. I'm in Bangkok. I did a show last night, and one comic he's Thai, but he grew up in Australia, and I'm going to interview him. And another guy grew up in Florida, but he was in China for 6 or 7 years teaching English, and now he's in Thailand. So he speaks a little Mandarin, he speaks a little Thai, but he's this dude from Florida. And he studied politics in college. So it's really, really interesting conversations. And, talking politics in America is so toxic. Everyone gets so mad and it yells at me and gets all mad in the comment section. And when I post something that's just silly comedy, everything in the comment section is fun. And so, and quite honestly, I wasn't, I love being a Bitcoiner. I love the Bitcoin community, but the Bitcoin community, I've been trying to, several like Bitcoin platforms have said like, Graham, we want to have you on. I'm like, okay, great. And then somehow it just doesn't happen. And I'm always wondering, is it because I'm like a Bitcoin lefty, which is a little bit of a unicorn? Again, I'm not going to just be a libertarian meat eating Bitcoiner. Like you for some reason you have to be like, I eat meat and I'm a conservative and New York is socialist. I'm not, that's bullshit. I'm not going to do that. I don't believe that. And I have evidence to show you that it's not true. So, it's great. Alex Das Leby again. Shave your knuckles for justice, brother. Dankeschön. Graham taught me about open secrets. When something doesn't make sense, open secrets makes it obvious. Follow the money. I enjoy seeing you have fun. We all do. Thanks, brother. Yeah, that was the whole goal of the channel, was like I was learning along with you guys. I would learn something and go, well, I'm going to tell my audience this. When I learned about open secrets, I was like, what? How come CNN and Fox aren't referencing this every day? Oh, because they're part of the system. They're part of the corrupt system. But, and you bring up this point, Alex, and I appreciate it because it also shines a light on why I'm stepping away. I'll show my liberal friends or my conservative friends, I'll show them this stuff on open secrets and they'll go, oh yeah, but still, Graham, and it's like, oh, if Harris was president, things would be better. Maybe, maybe not. They'd be ramping up war. They'd be funding Gaza. They'd be ramping up war in Ukraine. The economy would not be better. I mean, they wouldn't have cut all those federal jobs. The MAGA constituency would be more resistant than ever. They would be resisting her at every turn. There would be more contentiousness in this country if she was president. And what's happening now actually might be a good thing in the long run is MAGA is imploding. Trump is losing his own supporters. He's getting booed at an NFL game. NFL fans are pretty right wing. They lean right. This is the same league that, 2 months ago put up photos up of Charlie Kirk after he was assassinated. Charlie Kirk, not the MLK. He didn't deserve to be shot, but he wasn't out there preaching love and everybody get along. He wasn't being a Christian. He was being a hate-filled conservative saying black women aren't smart enough. He said that. And so I think in the long run, Trump winning significantly. This is the thing. When Trump won handily, it wasn't close. I went, all right, there's no excuse. I said to some of my conservative friends, and I said on this show, there's no excuse, Trump supporters. There's no excuse. If Trump doesn't do what he said he's going to do, there's no excuse. There's no Democrats blocking. Nope. He's trying to play the Democrats are blocking us with this government shutdown, but now they just released 20,000 emails. So anyway, I went off a little bit of a tangent, but thank you, Alex. Part of the problem and part of the thing why I was never naive to think that this little YouTube channel was going to change the world, but I thought I would at least wake some people up. And I know I woke some of you folks up, but most of my liberal friends in Hollywood think I'm nuts. I've lost some friends. They think I'm crazy. It's like, I'm not crazy. And they don't want to watch open secrets. They don't want to pay attention to all the awful stuff the Democrats have done. They don't want to hear that Obama dropped more bombs than Bush. They don't want to hear that Joe Biden signed more drilling permits on public lands than Trump did. They just want to say Trump bad, Trump bad, Trump bad. Okay. Yeah, Trump's awful. And they kind of want to go back to the way it was, of just corporate Democrats giving us these teeny little incremental changes because they're paid by the donor class to not give us good things. Look at Mamdani. Who went after Mamdani? Both parties. Cuomo dropped out to run as an independent. Eric Adams, the sitting Republican mayor of New York, dropped out to try to beat this guy. Like, unreal. Like, unreal. But anyway, I really appreciate your guys' support. You guys have been really, really awesome. And I'm going to be doing more stuff. It's just going to be more comedy related because it's censored. I'm, you know, when you're politically homeless like this, I'm shunned. I've talked to Lee Camp about this. You know, I'm shunned. Conservatives aren't gonna hire me because I'm gonna call them out on their bullshit. The Bitcoin community doesn't want me there because I'm a Bitcoin socialist. Hollywood doesn't want me there because I call out the crimes of the Democratic Party. So, you know, and I love being a comedian, and I have to eat. You know, I have to pay my bills. There's no, you know, investors. There's not a lot of like wealthy socialist investors. That's the sad reality. Eventually, average folks will get tired of having things taken away. No consumer environmental protections. So we haven't just been barking at the moon. Yeah, you're right. For many Americans, the phrase conspiracy theory is a convenient when they don't have to think. Yeah, and the conspiracy theory, that term was created by the CIA after they assassinated Kennedy. Back to brunch. I joined late, but can't seem to catch up at 1.5 speed. I can't leave a like for some reason. Yeah. Exactly. My friends, they say they get it, but then they don't pursue it. I wonder if they ever understood what I was saying, or they disagree and just don't want to argue. Yeah, there's that. They're just people going, oh yeah, you're right. You know, but those of you who, you know, I'm happy that those of you learned to go to Open Secrets, you know, and I'm glad you learned stuff from the show. My father was a college professor, and, have you seen Abby Martin's Earth's Greatest Enemy? Yeah, the Earth's Greatest Enemy is the U.S. military. And, you know, that's all you can do. It's like America is like dealing with, if you have ever had to deal with a family or friend that's an active addict. That's what America is. It's a nation of addicts. And when you're dealing with someone who's an active addict, you can tell them, hey, man, you need to get help. Whatever the thing is, it can be food, drugs, alcohol. Like, hey, man, eat healthy, you know, go to an Overeaters Anonymous meeting, or come to an AA meeting, man. You might hear some stuff that resonates with you. But if they come to a meeting and go, yeah, I got to come to more, and then they don't, there's nothing you can do about it. I've brought so many people to meetings. I told them, I said, this is what's really helped me. All these 12-step groups, there's a million of them. Al-Anon, if you have alcoholic family members, go to Al-Anon. If you grew up in an alcoholic home, go to Adult Children of Alcoholics meetings. But if people don't want to go, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. And ultimately, you have to just distance yourself from those people. That's the reality. Because if you try to control, I got to fix and save them. You'll drive yourself crazy. That's an addiction in and of itself. Thinking I can fix and save everybody is an addiction in and of itself. So if people don't want to get saved, if Americans, be they red or blue, don't want to look at the corruption of the system, there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can do. And okay, let's say they vote Trump out of office and get Gavin Newsom? What's Gavin Newsom going to do? What's Gavin Newsom going to do? I mean, he'll just bring back some of the things that Trump took away and go, see, victory, I'm making your lives better. No, you're bringing them back to the not great level. We went from horrible and now we're back to not great. And you're telling me that's a win? No, it's not. They just don't, there's nothing you can do. Chris Garrett, shave your knuckles for justice. I was going to do a 279 super chat for old time's sake, but that might be insulting tonight. Oh, that 279 was great when that guy kept doing that. Oh, thank you, Chris. You've been great too. What is your comedy channel, Graham? It's called Planet Comedy. There's no new, I'm going to start putting new videos on it. So the two channels I'm going to really start to promote are Bitcoin Hollywood and Planet Comedy. So yeah, Planet Comedy, damn greedy wingnut suppressing you with bots and algorithms. I know. You can only sow seeds when they are ready to receive. Yeah, you're right. And folks like Chris and Alex and Anna and many of you who have been supporting the show for a long, long time, you get it. But like you say, I'm sure all of you that support this channel have friends and family in your life that just, when you tell them stuff, they go, oh, great. They kind of give you that, oh, here we go again. Like, what's Graham running about? Okay, buddy, I know, it's crazy. And then they just want to go back. It's Joe Pantoliano's character in The Matrix when he wants to go back to being plugged in and he's sitting there going, I know this isn't steak, but I don't care. He just wants to go back to sleep. And Americans want to go back to brunch. They want to go back to Bill Clinton and Obama and just sitting there having brunch while innocent people are getting bombed to death in the Middle East and the selective outrage. It's a bummer. So, family or zombified, yeah. No matter which wing of the uniparty is in control, the real owners is in power. The real owners are still in control, right? Yeah, you guys make excellent points. You guys make excellent points. So, I think I'm gonna, because like I don't know what exactly I'm gonna do with the Graham Elwood channel. If I'm gonna just shut it down or just stop posting on it or what, I don't know. I can't do live streams on the other two channels because they don't have 1,000. You got to get to 1,000 followers. So if you guys can all go over to Bitcoin Hollywood and Planet Comedy, I'm going to just be putting more entertainment stuff up there and the interviews with those people and traveling the world and meeting people and trying to find common ground. I'm going to do that. You know, maybe I'll travel around the US and interview people and do a common ground thing, you know, because everybody seems, but fighting is good business. It's good for ratings. Which team you on? Fox or MSNBC? Red, blue. It's good fighting. The debates, you know, it's good business. Fighting and arguing is good business. It's good money. People getting along. They can't profit. The ruling elites can't profit from everybody getting along. And everybody realizing that they're the problem. So right now the Bitcoin price is dropping, and that's because of the Trump announcement. I firmly believe that's because of Bitcoin is at 102. It's dropped. It was at 105 and dropped all the way down to 100,000 in the last day. And I think that's since the announcement of the, Epstein files, because Trump is so tied to Bitcoin. And I've said this before, this is the beautiful thing about being an independent. I'm not on a side. I'm on the side of facts and data. Trump has been good for the price of Bitcoin. No two ways about it. I'm a Bitcoin holder. But to be clear, it's mainly because of Cynthia Lummis. She is the senator from North Dakota that drafted the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve Bill, which I think was actually a positive bill, a good thing. Trump, of course, and his sons do these shit coins. That's why I'm a Bitcoin maxi, and they're running scams because that's what the Trumps do. They wake up and think, run 10 scams before breakfast. Like that's how those folks operate. So I'm going to keep talking about Bitcoin because I like it. And I do firmly believe it's a thing that can pull regular people out of poverty. I've had this book that I've been working on, Bitcoin for Activists. I know I said it was going to come out over the summer, but it just needed some more work. And I brought a friend of mine in to help me with the editing on it. And we had a discussion yesterday. And I was like, I got to get, rather than rush to get this book out, I want to get this book out in the right place. So go to Planet Comedy. Let me go find the Planet Comedy. Let me go find Planet Comedy and Planet Comedy. And I'm going to just make comedy stuff. I love being a comedian. I love making people laugh. I don't even think I have many videos on it yet. Hold on. But Bitcoin Hollywood, you can follow that for sure. Yes, it's Planet Comedy with Graham Elwood. Sorry, I got to get my reading glasses on. So right now there's just sort of travel interview videos on it. It's when I was in Asia in February. Here, I'm going to put this in the chat. Boom. Hello. Do you cover privacy issues with Bitcoin? I don't want to be tracked or hacked, so I stay away from cryptocurrency. Oh yeah, we can talk about that. That's a great conversation. That's a great thing. A friend of mine said, that the universe is changing and that we can simply do things that we enjoy. That's tough for me to agree with, but maybe it's better. Yeah, I think we got to talk about mental health in doing this. Alex Das Liebe, thank you, brother. Dankeschön. Graham, you're my first Patreon. Apprehension, tell your tier chat monthly unless you're a wingnut. Use wingnut in a sentence. Equals honest actor. Tell your tier chat monthly unless you're a wingnut. Use wingnut in a sentence equals honest actor. Thanks, brother. I appreciate that, guys. Yeah, this is yeah, here's Planet. It's just at So I'm going to keep the Patreon open, the Political Vigilante Patreon open. And what I will do is just start putting, well, first of all, I'll open it up to you guys. This is the Planet Comedy. I'll open it up to you guys. What would you like to see? I mean, obviously bonus content. What I've been doing is as soon as these live streams are done, I put them behind the paywall. But I'd like to keep the Patreon going just because I appreciate your guys' support. But what would you like to see on it? Just like behind the scenes stuff. One thing I could do that's kind of fun, if you dig this, is just called green room interviews, where I just interview comics backstage before and after shows, and you get to see sort of backstage or whatever, wherever the venue is at. And I can just put those on Patreon, the green room interviews. I won't put them anywhere else. But let me know. Surf cam around the world. Nice. Yeah, so subscribe to Planet Hollywood with Graham Elwood, and subscribe to Bitcoin Hollywood. And there'll be some overlap on those because Bitcoin Hollywood is going to have entertainment and comedy, but obviously Bitcoin news will go there, and Planet Comedy will just be just comedy, anything involving comedy, a sketch, a short film, a funny interview. And I'm going to start doing more of the characters, the Darien and the Shy Shim and Granny Petrol. Because I love doing the characters. They're just more fun. And but let's talk about the mental, and I gotta go here in a sec. But one of the things we should talk about in being an activist is mental health. And hey, if you're just joining us, my name is Graham Elwood. This is Planet Comedy with Graham Elwood. This is Bitcoin Vigilante. Graham, you could just lump Political Vigilante, Bitcoin Hollywood, and Planet Comedy with Graham Elwood all together. Point them all to one account. That's not a bad idea. One YouTube account or one Patreon account. Did you talk about YouTube or Patreon, Alex? It's a great idea, by the way. Yeah, maybe I should just point them all to one thing. That's a good idea. One Patreon. Oh, great. Yes. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll just point them all to one Patreon. Yeah. The Patreon, and that's a great idea. I'll go through the Patreon and just kind of change the title of it a little bit and say, this is the Patreon for all of these, and you can get bonus content there. Great idea. Thank you. But I just want to talk about this real quick about being an activist in mental health, because to be an activist, to be you folks, I'm assuming you watch my show and other shows like Lee and Jordan Sheridan and Abby Martin and Katie Halper and folks like that, is because you see what's messed up in the world, and you see how you've been misled and lied, and the two-party system is bullshit, or whatever your specific journey was that got you into, hey, I'm tired of being told nonsense, It means more than likely, if you're an activist, if you're a true political actor or whatever you want to call yourself, an independent, a democratic socialist, a anti-war pro-labor, you you care. I'm assuming you're here because you care. This ain't right. Things aren't right. What can I do? You're just like, I'm one person at home. What can I do? And you follow social media accounts that are showing you what's really happening, and you get bothered. You read Mint Press News, and whenever you learn Chris Hedges and all these amazing people just doing really amazing stuff, Whitney Webb, and people that really genuinely care. There's some grifters in the space for sure, but there's people who, Chris Hedges genuinely cares. Abby Martin genuinely cares. Whitney Webb, she really cares. She's a mother. When we had a private conversation after some of this Epstein, after she talked to Maria Farmer, this is like 3 or 4 years ago. She was like, Graham, I can't raise my child in this world. And it was hard. And so you have to take breaks. You have to have fun stuff. It's why I surf. I haven't done much of it lately because I've been in a huge city. It's why I watch baseball. I mean, because I don't obsess and get all and go on the gambling sites or whatever, but I need distractions. You need art, you need music, you need to go outdoors. I mean, I don't know what your spiritual religious beliefs are, but God, go outdoors. Be in nature, man. Be in nature. Turn the phone off. Stay informed, but don't go nuts. I've had to pull back a little from this. So and the Epstein thing was hard. I was obsessed about it and was covering it 24/7. And it was breaking me because it's so dark. It's so dark. And not everyone can carry the weight of the world. Yeah, that's a great point. Is I searched, ours is not the worries of the world, but there was no related quote, heard it somewhere. Yeah. So my thing is find a balance. You got to find a balance in life. And sometimes it's challenging because you've got work or family or whatever, but pay attention to what's going on in the world as best you can. And then take breaks, follow, funny cat videos on TikTok. I started following that guy, Tony Barker, that finds these videos of cats like smacking each other, and he puts in the voices of what'd you say to me? It's hilarious. And I've watched that. And I get up in the morning and I meditate and I try to watch the sunset a couple times a week. And so that you have to shine the light. The only, KOK'd. No, I've never known what I don't know what KOK'd is. But yeah, that's the thing. That's my advice for mental health. Stay healthy, exercise, do some type of physical fitness, go on walks, bike rides, swim laps, workout, whatever works for you and your body and your age, some type of physical fitness, movement. It's great for mental health. Eating healthy, the system, the ruling elites, they want you to put all this crap into your body, and then you have to get trapped in their bullshit medical system or whatever. And there is decent medicine out there, but they want us just eating crappy food and taking all their medicines and whatever else. And there's a lot of all natural ways. I'm not saying Western medicine doesn't have benefits. There are plenty of good benefits to Western medicine, but there's a lot of all natural stuff out there. On the waveless East Coast, get in the ocean, man, whether it's surfable or not, whether you're a surfer or not. The ocean, getting in the ocean, the salt water, has a lot of very positive effects. Kayak. No, I've done kayaking once or twice. Dado channel on YouTube, uplifting for people that care about it. Yeah. Stay informed, but follow accounts that are doing positive things. YouTube also has a lot of great positive affirmation videos. There's actually this Dr. Joe Dispenza. He's a really great guy to follow about positive thoughts and positive thinking. And I know I make fun of it in my special, just manifest it. I'm sort of making fun of rich people that say manifest it, but it does work. And there's really great meditation videos where you just listen to mantras. And maybe I'll put some of those on Bitcoin Hollywood and everything. So I really appreciate all of you been supporting me since January of 2017. I really do. It's been an amazing journey. I have like really good friend, like Lee Camp is a really good friend of mine because of doing this show. Ron Placone is a really good friend of mine as a result of doing this show. I've gotten to interview John Kiriakou and Chris Hedges and Whitney Webb and I've met Abby Martin and these people that I highly respect. And I've gotten to do some really fun, cool stuff. For exercise, I recommend a palm strike, dance party, palm strike. Yes. Yeah. A friend of mine, we were supposed to travel together, and then they had a death in the family, and they said, so I went to their funeral. The family's funeral was very intense and everything, and it was, it was in Vietnam, and it was most of the people there didn't speak English, and it was very sad. I was just they have very specific customs and cultures surrounding that, and I was like, man, I don't want to, I just was like, I'll do whatever, whatever I'm supposed to do. And there's the big dinners and stuff. And my friends' uncles were trying to get me to drink. And because that's a big part of the culture, I'm like, no, I'm sober. I don't drink. But I could tell I was sort of the butt of the jokes a little bit. I was the only American in the whole thing. It was this little village in Vietnam. And I started thinking like, all right, I'll be the butt of the jokes and get people laughing. And, my friend's aunt who, lost someone very close to them was like, obviously in a lot of pain. There was a lot of people in pain. And by the end of the 4 days, I was sort of like they were teaching me Vietnamese, and they were clearly teaching me, like, to say bad words or whatever. And I'm saying this, and I knew that, and I was like, I'll be the butt of the jokes. I was making everybody laugh. And my friend said it really helped. And it, said, she's like, I talked to my mom and my aunt, everybody in the town is still laughing about you. They were calling me Michael. They couldn't pronounce my name. They were like, nobody knows. My name doesn't land well in Asia. Let me tell you that. And she said, Graham, everyone's was laughing. You helped my family laugh through this really painful thing. And they're still talking about, like, one of the uncles, they couldn't pronounce my name, so he called me Michael. So then everyone calls me Michael. And her mom was like, how's Michael? Like, she forgot my actual name. They're calling me Michael. And, I'm sleeping on the floor. This is a remote village in Vietnam. This is not like I'm sleeping on this little thing mattress, and they have dinner, and the women sit at one side and the men sit at another. And I'm sitting at the side with my friend. She's a vegetarian and doesn't drink like me. She speaks English, of course. And so I'm like sitting with the women eating vegetarian food. The men are at the other side of the table. Like, what's this guy all about? And like, I'm like, oh man, and so, I could tell they're busting balls, because I know what they're doing. They're busting balls, but they're doing it in a language I don't understand. But I just made them laugh. And when I got this text from my friend yesterday saying how much it helped her family, I was talking to my friend, Tim, about, we're working on the book and we're working on a script. And he's like, maybe it's time to be the funny guy again, Graham. Maybe all this political stuff, it's just too divisive and it's hurting your career a little bit. And maybe it's time to just, Americans not ready. He's a big lefty independent guy like us. He's one of us. He's always been that. He and I have been talking independent politics and conspiracies since we became friends in college. And so I was like, yeah, I got to just focus on making people laugh. I'm very good at that. And that's my whole goal. That's my purpose. That's why the universe brought me to that village in Vietnam. That was like made clear as day. This is why I'm here. So that's what I'm going to focus on, guys. Yeah. Politics is very divisive until you realize all voters need freedom to vote on everything government wants to do. So I'm going to still support open primaries. I'm still going to support election reform and allowing everybody, all voters should be able to vote on everything. I'm still going to be a big third-party advocate. I'm going to watch Mamdani. I hope he does the right thing. I'm worried he'll be co-opted by the Democrats, but don't hang all your hopes on one person. And I'll still be paying attention, and I'll do a little political stuff here and there, but this might be my last like political live stream thing. I think this might be my last one. So I thank all of you very much. And I hope you join me over at Planet Hollywood. Overpriced bad American food in other parts of the country. Will you join me for that? No, I hope you'll join me at Planet Comedy with Graham Elwood. And I hope you will join me at Bitcoin Hollywood. If you're new to Bitcoin, please, all I ask is stay open, because it's a thing that can pull you out of poverty. And the rich guys want it. The rich guys are starting to realize what Bitcoin is, and they want to snatch it all up. And there's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin ever made. So every little piece of Bitcoin you own, a billionaire can't. So thanks, everybody. I really appreciate this. I really appreciate this journey. Yeah. So, yeah, it's been really cool. I've gotten to do some really cool things as a result of this channel. That is where you can donate Bitcoin 24/7. And as we just discussed with Alex, I'm going to keep the Patreon going, and I'm going to funnel all the Planet Comedy and Bitcoin Hollywood bonus content will all go to that same Patreon, which is patreon.com/Graham Elwood. So that'll stay open, and I'll be putting cool stuff on there. Love you, Graham. You're a good dude. Vegan guns, shave knuckles with justice, mattress cams. Oh, right on. Yeah, join me on the other ones, and we'll see you over there. And yeah, vegan guns, baby. Vegan guns. Have a vegan smoothie. And thank you all so much. Really, thank you so much. And shave your knuckles for justice. It's not over till it's over. Oh, you're quoting Animal House? Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Germans, forget it. He's on a roll. Movie quote. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you on the other channels.